French authorities, specifically the chief of police for Paris, has canceled an integral part of the French celebration for Christmas and New Year's because of the fear of marauding groups of migrants committing sexual assaults, robberies, and acts of terrorism against the celebrants. Is this France's new normal?
Beautiful and spectacular event, and it has all been canceled because the French government can no longer keep its own people safe from potential radical Islamic terrorists that they have welcomed into their country.
Party's over. Paris. Fearful French cancel New Year's Eve concert on Champs-Élysées as migrant violence grows. The normally proud and defiant French are waving the white flag in the face of migrant terror. Paris has shockingly decided to dim the lights on its annual New Year's Eve fete along the iconic Champs-Élysées. The massive midnight concert that drew a jubilant crowd of 1 million people last year, with the festivities having drawn throngs to the most beautiful avenue in the world for 6 decades, has been scrapped and replaced by a pre-recorded video to be viewed in the safety and comfort of French living rooms. Tune in and watch our special progressive programming called Why France Shouldn't Survive as a Civilization, a thrilling documentary about how evil and despicable Europe and Europeans are. Then watch the critically acclaimed documentary Kafir, You Deserve Everything Coming, directed by award-winning director Islam Jihad. Then there's the accompanying documentary called Why Everything Your Ancestors Worked For Is Mine Now, also directed by Jihad Islam. This is all brought to you by the good folks at the European Union. Hail Satan. I mean, God bless. Blink. Blink. They say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Come join the EU. You can travel anywhere you want. No border checks, no security. Anyone is allowed in, and you're allowed to commit horrific crimes, and you only do a few years in prison. Man, that's a tough one. Some, a little bit of economic prosperity, but if you're white and you plan on having kids, you're probably going to be the last generation to have some economic prosperity. And them later generations will probably be wiped out anyways. Fireworks will still illuminate the Arc de Triomphe, can't do French, when the clock strikes 12, but with the officials urging revelers to watch on television rather in person, the soiree. Man, I just do not have a very good mouth for French. Although I always loved French kissing. Will be a far cry from the famed French Giuseppe Vivet of years past. The famed avenue has become a flashpoint of violence lately, with throngs of young, mostly Muslim migrants streaming into Paris' infamous suburbs at night, looking for trouble, looking to loot stores, to brawl with Parisians and police. Paris police, which pressed the mayor to scrap the concert, cited security concerns such as unpredictable crowd movements, without going into details, but critics loudly blamed France's open-door immigration policy. I think it's pretty safe to say that we can pin this one on France's open-door immigration policies, right? Let's look at who's committing the crimes. Yeah, them. So, who let them in? The left, center right, moderates. So who's to blame? The migrants that the left let in. So you blame the left and you blame the migrants. Hence, you blame the open immigration policy. I just figured it out for you 220 million Europeans that love your left wing, left of center, center of right, and center parties. I just figured it all out. It's obvious that this is the result of massive unvetted Muslim immigration into Europe, said Daniel Di Martino, an immigration fellow at the Manhattan Institute. Western Europe has had a terrorism problem for many years now, and that has been exacerbated because of unvetted Islamic immigration as a result of refugee crisis over a decade ago. Even open-air Christmas markets are being treated as high-risk targets by France's interior minister.
Terrorists have struck 7 European Christmas markets since 2014, 3 in France and 4 in Germany, all carried out by men of Muslim or Middle Eastern backgrounds. Authorities arrested 5 men suspected of planning attack number 8 in Germany last week. One of them, a Muslim cleric from a German mosque who urged his followers to kill as many people as possible. Christmas markets in many European nations must now be surrounded by barriers and security patrols. In Magdeburg last December, a man drove his SUV at a high rate of speed through the center of the Christmas market, killing 6 and injuring more than 300. In 2016, a Muslim terrorist drove a stolen semi-truck through a Christmas market in Berlin, killing 12 people and injuring 56.
In an urgent letter to state officials, he warned of a very high terror threat, citing groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and ordered beefed up police presence at Christmas markets and to restrict vehicle access and mobilize intelligence agencies.
The decision marks a significant change for an event that has been a long-standing part of French holiday celebrations. For decades, crowds of people gathered on the famed avenue to ring in the new year together with live music, performances, and a countdown at midnight. Last year's event attracted roughly 1 million people to the most beautiful avenue in the world, making it one of the capital's most anticipated annual festivities. City authorities say that escalating security threats and unpredictable crowd behavior have made it too risky to host the large open-air concert this year. As a result, the live celebration has been scrapped and will be replaced by a pre-recorded performance broadcast to homes across France.
Hey kids, if you're watching, watch this show. Don't listen to your parents. Christmas is bad. Jesus is bad. Being French is terrible. Shame on you! Shame on you! Don't try looking away or changing the channel.
Fireworks will still be set off from the Arc de Triomphe at midnight, but officials are urging residents and visitors to watch from indoors rather than gather in large crowds. Paris police officials reportedly recommended canceling the event after assessing potential risks tied to large gatherings of people. They cited concerns about unpredictable crowd movements, a phrase that reflects uncertainty about how crowds might behave under current conditions. Public safety warnings have also been issued for other major seasonal events, including Christmas markets throughout France. The country's interior minister recently issued a warning letter to state officials about a very high terror threat, urging heightened security measures at popular holiday venues. Authorities have noted that extremist groups continue to pose risks, and several plots have been intercepted or foiled in France so far this year.
So there you go, France. The decision is decided for you. Because this makes it quite clear what you're at a fork in the road. It's quite obvious to anyone that's paying any attention, anyone that has any intelligence, any forethought, foresight, can see what's coming down the pike, right? So you either go left or you go right. And if you go left, I mean, admittedly, you're advocating for the marginalization of your people, right? You know that, right? I mean, quite obviously, you're literally voting for the marginalization of your people. You're voting to become a minority in your own country. And then it becomes a question of what kind of concessions are you willing to make? I don't think you have much of a choice at that time to surrender your majority status. I mean, are we talking about like a complete cultural overhaul? Are we talking about, stopping public celebrations of Christmas? Are we talking banishment of Christian iconography or the cross? Or, Bibles? Any kind of public profession of Christian faith, is that banished to the underground, to the counterculture? And then you got to ask yourself, so as they grow in numbers and your minority decreases and you're high-fiving and playing grab ass with your Muslim friends, about the demise of Christianity or the marginalization of Christianity. And then, a question you commies should really be asking yourself is, how long do you think they would put up with your commie beliefs? Let's look at Indonesia during the 60s when the Islamists finally had a free hand to deal with the communists.
The image is indeed a powerful and haunting reminder of the atrocities that took place during the Indonesian communist genocide in 1965.
Between 500,000 and 1 million people were eliminated in just months.
The Rubber Workers Union was communist-run, so after the coup, many of them were killed or imprisoned. Some of the survivors, you see them here, still work the rubber, but this time as prisoners and at gunpoint. The different islands deal with the communist survivors in various ways. In some camps, they are starved to death or released periodically to be killed by the local citizens. Ted Yates, NBC News, reporting.
They didn't fare that well in Indonesia. I wonder how they fared in Afghanistan. On the dissolution of the Soviet Union, Afghanistan's communist government was quickly defeated on the battlefield and disappeared forever. How many of these communists exist in Afghanistan today? Is there even a trace of the communist influence? All them billions of dollars, every cent worth of investment or improvements have been blown away like dust by decades Islamic governance. So support for leftism, open borders, means you're basically converting to Islam. So France, you going to keep canceling Christmas events and New Year's events? Are you ever going to have celebrations again? What are you going to do about this? There's only one thing you can do at this point, and that's to vote for Marine Le Pen. And yes, I know about her being illegitimately banned from running for 5 years.
Le Pen's banned from running for the presidency, following a court ruling that could drag on for months or years, has created a power vacuum in the RN and left Bardella as the default contender. Is now projected to win the next presidential election regardless of who he faces. Born into a family of Italian immigrants who arrived in France in the 1960s, grew up in the working-class suburb of St. Denis under modest circumstances, with his single mother often having only 20 euros left at month's end. He joined the far-right party at age 16 and was first elected to the European Parliament at just 23. He succeeded Marine Le Pen as leader of the RN party in 2021.
And what, you may ask, is this man's view on mass immigration?
You can see mass migration, which is now a threat for our security, for our identity, and indeed for the stability of our societies. Demography really can write history, and we're only at the start of this. The existential risk that Europe's facing is worrying. Millions and millions of migrants are coming. Thousands of migrants are coming to towns and cities with the incessant demands to receive migrants. These migrants flows that just don't stop. We are not going to be replaced or submerged.
Well, France, it looks like you have your answer. Hopefully he can be everything that France needs in this time of crisis. And all you need to do is give them an overwhelming majority to have the power to initiate mass deportations. You know what's crazy? I literally called this 20 years ago. My prison journal, 2005, November 13th. In France, there's been ongoing rioting among the poorer Muslim North African neighborhoods for about 15 or 16 nights. The riot was touched off by the deaths of 2 young Muslims who were running from the police and took refuge inside an electrical transformer building. They died of electrocution, obviously. Also, a lack of assimilation and a high unemployment rate has attributed to the violence, according to the immigrant community. This enrages me. Muslims around the world seem to expect everything handed to them. Who are these assholes to think that they can immigrate to a European country, then demand jobs? I hope the French can grow a backbone and deal with these Arab usurpers and invaders, or else France will soon cease to be French.